You're listening to Estrogen Dropouts.
Hey, welcome back to Estrogen Dropouts. I'm one of your hosts, Erin.
I'm your other host, Elizabeth. And today we're going to be talking about waiting for when the time is right instead of taking action immediately. And the thing that happens in midlife is that we kind of realize that we've been waiting for the right time, but in midlife, we wake up one day and we realize that right time was never coming. And so people usually think that they're waiting because they lack clarity. They're really just, we're kind of trained to tolerate being misaligned is what I think. We're kind of like, we just kind of get stuck in being stagnant or just accepting less. And so we just start to tolerate not having the life that we want. And so we keep waiting and waiting. And then the time is just, it's not coming. The
Right.
perfect time is not coming.
The perfect time will never happen. It's similar to like having kids, because it's like men always want to have, I want to have this amount of money saved and I want to be in this place in my career. We've got to have a house. We've got to have this. And, there's never a perfect time to have kids. You have kids and you figure it out as you go along. And that's kind of, I think, for anything that you have a desire to do, you'll figure it out. And this topic for today's episode came about because a friend that we both have, she's been talking to me. We've been friends, for probably 15 years. And she has told me from the beginning she wanted to start a blog. And this was back when blogs were still like the thing. I mean, I think that nowadays with TikTok and, YouTube, that things have gone
More
digital.
video.
Yeah.
So vlogging is more of a thing than blogging. What does the B in blog stand for? So vlogging is video logging, like your life, your chronicle life, or your thoughts and stuff like that. But what is blogging? Do you even know?
I don't have any idea. That's a good question. I've always just accepted it as a word.
I mean, it is writing, but it's got to be you're logging something that starts with a B. I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
We'll have to investigate and figure out what it means to do a blog. I mean, I always just thought it was like a word like banana. Banana doesn't actually have a,
maybe vlog is a play off of the word blog.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know vlog is a play off of the word blog, but I don't know why it is like a B log. Like a log obviously is like, you're
logging your insights.
Yeah. But she's been saying for 15 years that she's going to start a blog. And I'm like, do it. Like, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? And we'd always talk about it. And every time we meet for coffee every 6 months, back when our kids were in school together, we saw each other a lot more. And she just launched her blog like 2 weeks ago. And she's a very talented writer. Her articles that she's written, her blog posts are really interesting. And so I started thinking like, whenever I'd ask her kind of like, why don't you start? She'd say, oh, I don't have time. Or, I think that what it ultimately, I think it was probably like fear, right? People won't want to read what I have to say. Having self-doubt, where you have limiting beliefs. I think that
and putting your opinions out there, especially when you blog, I think people share, like, I mean, I do videos and that's challenging, but I think when you're doing, but mine is like content themed around beauty and stuff like that. It's not just like, sometimes I do heart to hearts and that does feel like more raw and more like danger zone. And so I could see a blog though, that is typically it's your innermost. It is deep, your innermost thoughts and feelings and your opinions. And how are people going to react to that? Like, what if the people that you respect and admire don't respect and admire your opinion or you so that is scary. Like, I understand the hang up.
Yeah,
That's
because
all I'm saying.
especially when you are sharing your innermost, deepest thoughts. But I always feel like we're more alike than we are different. Somebody is going to resonate with what you have to say, unless you're like maybe a xenophobic, racist, and there are going to still people who resonate with what you say and agree with you. But if you're sharing like your own challenges in life or funny little anecdotes that happen to you, I mean, it's like we're all living the same life, just in different flavors, kind of. And I know that there are I mean, vast differences. We obviously are very privileged growing up in the United States, how we have, I mean, even though I grew up poor, I still was never like living in a war torn country. But I mean, I think we all have the same hopes and desires. Everyone just wants to live their life, like have enough food, clothes, shelter, then raise our children in peaceful times. I was going to tell you, I looked up really quick what blog means.
Okay.
It's an abbreviation of web log.
Oh, okay.
So it's like web and log, and then I guess they just dropped the WE to say blog. So I knew it had to be, it was, and
Yeah.
the term wasn't even coined until like 1997. So that's how recent that is. That's definitely,
Well, the web. I mean, we
yeah,
didn't have
that's true.
we didn't have the internet before then, so that makes sense.
I guess, yeah. I forget. I mean, I think we got our first computer, I think it was in like 1996. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was dial up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah, I remember that.
it was
Took
the,
forever.
was that the computer companies no longer, and it was that cow print. I can't even remember what it was called. And Jeff had to drive to North. We were so poor. This was when Jeff was a student, and I was the breadwinner, and we had one child. And his daycare cost like almost, a whole week's of paycheck for us. He drove to North Carolina to pick it up because in North Carolina, they don't have state tax. That's how poor we were the gas was less back then,
Mm.
1996, than the actual like taxes for it to be sent to us.
Dell. Is that it?
Dell, yes.
Dell. It just came
I
to
was
me.
Dell. I never understood the cow print on the
Yeah.
boxes.
I don't know.
But yeah, so that's a trip down memory lane. But I
Fun.
think that's a common theme for not just women, but all people is that when we have an idea or maybe a dream, it's easier to keep the dream alive and just like, kind of think about how, like, if I did this, if I pursued my dream, all these the possibilities are endless. And so we can kind of keep the safety of the dream without the practicality of putting it into action. I think
Yeah.
maybe,
So my biggest driver has always been regret. And not because I carry regret, but because I've witnessed other people in my life who do. And they always say, like, oh, I regret that I never did this, that are older. And so, like my mom, when she reflects back in her life, she's always filled with regret. And so that drives me to not have it because I'm like, how annoying, like to live this life filled with all kinds of possibilities and then to have regrets that you didn't like dance or you didn't, take up the hobby of dancing or you didn't take an art class or you didn't like all these things that like literally anyone can do because you let just insecurities or fear hold you back. And that is what all of this comes down to. It does come down to like a sense of
yes.
control issues because it's like you want to control the outcome or it comes down to insecurity is both. They can both live in the same space. Insecure, you could be insecure and need control at the same time. But I'll tell you what helps me in those moments is owning my insecurity because I do it afraid and I do it insecure. And so when I first started posting and when we started doing the podcast together, for me, it felt like because Erin had had the podcast for a few years by herself. And so I felt like I was like the mess of it. I was interrupting her. I was overrunning. Like I just felt like a mess at it. I felt like she was a natural and I wasn't. And the same thing on video. Like, so I just kept telling my listeners, like my followers on my social media, I'm like, you guys, I know I sound terrible. I'm working on it. Like anything I was insecure, I just kept saying, I'm working on it. And it wasn't like I was saying it just for compliments. You know how sometimes you feel like that with people? I wasn't. And then whenever I first started my TikTok, was like, okay, well, here I am. At that time it was like 45. I was like, this doesn't feel comfortable, but I'm going to give it a go. And I would say, okay, I feel really, I would just own it every time. I feel really uncomfortable, but I'm going to do a really dramatic eyeshadow look for you today. And when I look back at those videos then versus now, I'm like, I don't even recognize that woman. And that was 5 years ago. But now I'm like a true professional on camera, recording beauty content and editing and all that stuff. But at that time, it was a freaking hot mess. But that's when I grew and had so many followers. People loved the authenticity and the mistakes and the lack of perfectionism. They liked that it was like kind of a hot mess. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here, you know, they enjoyed that. And I felt like it was almost more charming. And I felt like it's easier to get ahead when you're starting at the bottom than it is to stay ahead when you're at the top.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I'll
think
tell you.
also the vulnerability piece is probably the biggest thing. Like you were saying,
Hmm.
you're not a hot mess, but you're like, hey guys, I'm not a pro at this. I just really, this is what I want to do. I want to show up for you guys. It reminds me of like how Brene Brown, and I read that book about like being vulnerable. I forget the name of the title, but
Daring great.
yeah. Yeah. And it's like, that is when people really make a connection with you is when you're human. Because anytime, I mean, it's not that I'm enjoying watching people who are kind of a hot mess. I mean, it's not like, oh, it makes me feel better about myself, but it makes me just say like, oh, look at them like showing up even though they aren't perfect. And that's how I felt when I started the podcast is that I mean, I'm sure if people listen to like episodes way back in, 2021 or whatever, that they, to now, I sound hopefully better. But I mean, we're not like a polished podcast like Joe Rogan who pays, a team of people who does all his editing. We're like grassroots, like, we're like, what are we going to
Filming
talk
on our
about?
phones.
Yes, we're like, okay, we have a topic list going in our shared notes where if we have something that comes to mind, we pop it in there. And we don't have a team of people. It's Elizabeth and I. And we're just like,
And I'm like literally scribbling notes on a piece of paper before we start filming of what I want to
yeah,
say.
yeah, it's like, it's us just showing up as
Yeah.
authentic as we can. And the thing that people need to realize is that someone is going to identify with you. I mean, we may never get, 100,000 listeners, but the people that are listening resonate with what we say because we have repeat listeners every week in different countries around the world. Elizabeth and I was going over right before we started recording this about listing off all the countries that people are listening from. And it's so humbling and makes us just feel so honored to know that we are resonating with people and what we have to say lands for people. It's not going to land for everyone but our voice deserves to be heard. And so if we waited until we could afford to pay somebody, to do all the editing and do all the promotion, we would never do it because it would never happen, right? But we both felt strongly about we want to show up and talk about what we're going through.
Yeah. And I really love that our friend Kelly has started her blog. And I think that if you are on the fence about showing up on social media, or just even on Facebook, like in your friend network, if you want to share something or share a deep thought that you're having, you want to show up more regularly or frequently. If you want to take a dance class, a yoga class, an art class, if you've always been wanting to do something, you just have to do it. You have to rip that band-aid off and you have to do it, and you have to do it afraid, because when you do hard things, you grow new brain neurons and like brain pathways, and you're going to grow your confidence and you're going to feel stronger. That's like, so do the hard things. So one of the thing that I often hear from people that they also hold back on is they feel like, and I have struggled with this big time, that their style, they don't wear the clothes. They have a closet full of nice clothes, but they're saving them to wear to something, and they won't like just wear them. And they'll have like things like, I'm saving this for when I lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to save this for when I'm going to the theater or something. That's just, or like with me, I love jewelry. And sometimes I do say this. I'm like, I can't put all my jewelry on because I'm like, I'm going to be sitting around my house in all my jewelry. That's kind of ridiculous.
Or I'm going to Target and
Yeah,
like,
like a bunch of jewelry. And I'm not talking about like, I'm just talking about like, I love to accessorize, but I'm like me sitting around. And so it's like we have a closet full of almost,
yeah.
but we're not really living and like enjoying things that we have. And we have to stop waiting for this life, because if anything, like it is not coming. If you are going to continue on the path that you've been doing, if your life is not changing, you still have the same job, your partner still has the same job, you're living in the same house, like nothing new is going to happen to you to these where these circumstances are going to magically appear unless you create. So if
Mm-hmm.
you are not going to actively create the circumstance that in your mind warrants you wearing those clothes, then you need to get rid of them
Mm-hmm.
or wear them in your current life.
Yes. It's like burn the good candle. Don't wait for a special time.
Wear the perfume. Wear
It's funny because you came to visit me many years ago and you brought me this really pretty soap. And I have a bad habit of doing this where I'll save something for a special occasion or like it's just too pretty to use or it's
Yeah, it
too
had like potpourri in it or
yeah,
something.
yeah, it
Yeah.
had like, and I was like, for the longest time, I kind of saved it because it was so pretty. I was like, oh, I don't want to use it. Like, it's going to use it. And then finally, I'm like, oh my God, like, stop doing that. Like, use the soap, So I used it. But it's like or you'll have a candle that smells really good, but you don't burn it because you're saving it for a special time. Or I'm not a wine drinker, but it's like you're saving the good bottle of wine for a special occasion. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes being alive on a Tuesday is the special occasion, right?
Yeah, and really, especially right now when our hormones are all out of whack, I tell you, like, so I have like the Jergens body soap or body, and I love the Jergens. I just love the smell of it. It smells kind of like almond. But I also have this bougier lotion. I'm showing you if you're watching on YouTube, and it's the Josie Marin whipped argan oil body lotion. It is so like luxe feeling. Argan oil, so good for you. And it's like I always see that for a special. And I said, you know what? I took this out and I'm like, that's ridiculous. I'm literally using like the Jergens every day when I've had this for over a year. I'm like, I need to
And so
start
bad
using.
you don't use it. It's like,
I know. That's what I was like. When am I'm keep waiting. When do I find things that it's
right.
going to be good enough? It's ridiculous. We have to stop.
I know. It's so funny. Well, so I have some ways, some like maybe tips or things that you can do to help you overcome when you have an obstacle that's standing in the way of you doing something, whether it's like starting your dream blog or taking a dancing lesson, is to start small. Like if it's overwhelming for you to think about starting a blog, maybe you then just like start a journal and write your thoughts down in there that you can go back on and you could then put on to for the whole world to read. Or for me, like I'm not a technical person, so starting like a blog with a landing page and all of that, that seems like I'd have to pay somebody to set it up for me, and I don't want to incur the expense because sometimes it's a lack of resources that we're like, should I really pay to have this done? And sometimes, yes, you have to decide for yourself, but you could start sharing your thoughts on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, that would allow threads, any of the social media platforms. It's like type and post. You don't have to like set up a whole blog. But so break it down into small goals and like define them. So, okay, if I'll do this first and then I'll see how it goes. And I'm more of a person who's just like dive in. I'm a yes or a no. And we've talked about this in other episodes where I don't waffle too much. It's like I really do trust my intuition to just be like, is this for me? Yes. Okay. I'm going to do it. So I'm like rip the Band-Aid off, start the blog. And so if you create like, small actionable goals for yourself, like let me start with this and then I'll move on to, doing this or what have you. And then also find a support person or build a support team, find a mentor. If you like when I was starting the podcast and then one of my friends that I met, he has a friend that runs a very successful podcast and he sat down, he took his time from him. I didn't pay him or anything. He met me for coffee. I treated him for coffee to just hear like some feedback from him. He listened and he was like, hey, here's what I would do. He listened to a couple episodes. He's like, I really like it. Here's some things that I would do. And so that was like really great to have, people that are professionals. I mean, you might even have to pay somebody, but, oftentimes people are willing to, maybe do a 30-minute sit down with you to talk to you about, okay, here's how I became an artist and got hung in galleries. Here's how you do it, blah, 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 Um, and then just, managing your fear and your self doubt. So, talking to yourself positively and saying, like, what's the worst that actually will happen? You're not going to die. Now, and that's the caveat we'll say is like, if my dream is something that's really super dangerous, that's like, I want to free solo, climb up, Devil's Tower or whatever, you can die. I mean, I wouldn't undertake something like that. But if that was your dream, then you'd almost rather die trying to do something that you dream about than sitting on your couch and like just thinking about it. But so just manage your self-doubt and just talk to yourself how, and say, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to be a bust. Oh, well, like, is it really going to matter in 5 years?
Yeah, I really just think like whatever is, if there's something kind of nagging at your heart or on you that it's always kind of like, I've always wanted to paint, or I've always wanted to dance, or I've always really wanted to change the furniture in this room, or cut my hair off, or dye my hair pink, or anything. I mean, like literally start a new career. It could be big, little, it doesn't matter. If there's something that has been weighing on you, it gets louder in midlife. And you cannot keep turning a blind eye to it because the cost is greater. And the truth is, we are running out of time.
Right.
So
Lives are
you
more
have,
than over.
yeah, we've got to act. And it often starts with the little things. If there is something really big that you want to do, but there's also little things that you want to do, maybe grow your confidence in yourself by tackling those little things. Like maybe I'm going to wear the good body lotion or the good perfume or light the good candle, wear those things or use those things. And then also, I think you need to share it after you have established a pattern of what you're doing. Depending on how introverted you are, is going to determine who you share it with. But like Erin was talking about, I believe that we have like an innate responsibility to, if we are improving ourselves or if we've gone through a hardship and overcome it, we are obligated to share that. First, that is my personal belief, to help somebody else out there. And so everyone needs to act more on their inner desires. So if you share that with just your immediate family, that is good enough. If you are like me and you have a large platform, then your responsibility of sharing it on a larger scale is greater. But sharing it to just your child is enough if that is if that's your level. But you've got to share it with somebody. And I would say you share it after you say, hey, so, how we all have those things that, are nagging at us. And then use some of the examples, like you have the good lotion or the good perfume or candle or whatever. I've been working on that. And so far I've used da 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 da, and give them that. And then you're empowering that person or letting that person, planting a seed. What can I do? Even if they seem like they're disinterested because it's your child, you're still planting that seed there and they might reflect.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so right, is sharing it, speaking it out loud. Then it's like once it's spoken out loud, it helps you solidify that you're going to follow through with it and keep on. I know for me, it's like, that's why I think that there's a time I used to teach this in my yoga classes, that there is a time for germinating something in the dark. You have, like, if you think about, if you've ever planted, seeds and started them, from seeds to like plant outside, you have to keep it dark and moist and, and it's like hibernating kind of before the seed can come out. And then once, you've got these good roots, it forms these roots, then it's ready to like break free and come and bloom and be all of that it's supposed to be. And you have to be able to know when you've got the roots firmly planted, that now I can, like, I want to share it. It's my duty, like you said, to bloom to my fullest expression. And it could be that you're a daisy or you're a ranicula. Not everything has to be, the same. It's like some people love daisies, some people don't. Some people love raniculas, some people don't. But, it's like we all have a form of beauty that we need to share.
Yeah, for sure. So some of the other things that I just want to talk about really quickly,
Yeah.
that people have a tendency to say that have been life changing, I think, for me and probably Erin too. But women don't travel and they always wish they would. And they're always like, I wish I could go on a retreat, or I wish I could go to Europe, or I wish I could. And for me, for a long time, I was waiting for the perfect time for it to happen, to come like with my husband. And I thought that was the way I was supposed to travel. Well, in 2021, I said, screw that. That like day like rarely comes. Or we do travel. We definitely do travel together, but we have different interests. And sometimes I want more of the girly travel and he doesn't. And so now I started traveling by myself. You guys, I love it. I think it's incredibly empowering. And I think that if you and your partner don't have the same interest, stop waiting for them. Plus, it's cheaper if you're just traveling, if you're buying one airline ticket than two, and get with a girlfriend and share a room.
Right.
It's cheaper.
Yeah. Plus, then there's somebody to stay at home to like make sure the
Yeah, the
house,
pets.
the pet, the house, make sure the house doesn't burn down, get the mail, all that. You don't have to pay somebody to do that too. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you're just making memories. And then something else that people always tell me is that they want to. This is silly, and not it's not silly, but that they're always worried about cutting their hair, growing their hair out gray, and they're afraid of that. And it's like they really want to know what it looks like to have gray hair, or they really want to cut their hair off, but they're also afraid. It's just hair, you
It
guys.
grows.
It will grow back. I literally used to always say, when I'm a little old lady, I'm going to dye my hair pink. And then my stepdad died 4 years ago. And I was like, why? All of a sudden, I was like, why am I waiting to have pink hair until I'm 80? Because I was afraid of what people would say to me now. Well, I then said, F this, and gave myself pink hair. And I tell you what, I've been talked, when I have pink hair, I am talked to more than I've ever been talked to. People are warmer and kinder, and it's the weirdest thing. I was not expecting it. People talk to me all over the place. And I live in Northern Virginia. We are not a warm, chatty bunch. In DC culture,
Really?
it's kind of
Do you think
cool.
it was
Oh,
just that's interesting that people
oh,
felt like
in line.
people with
It was
pink?
like the Southern hospitality, that's what I was experiencing all the time, and it was like, there was something about me with pink hair that people found approachable, and maybe they didn't necessarily think that it was, like, the most attractive. I have no idea. Like, I look back at pictures and it didn't always look good because 'cause I'd have to go fluorescent pink in the beginning because it would fade to a pretty
Yeah,
color.
right.
So you have to go really intense, and when it was really intense, it was shocking and terrible looking.
It wasn't.
But people would literally, like, talk to me more then than they would ever talk to me now.
Huh.
It was weird. So I'm just saying, it's just hair. It's fine. I'm glad I did it. It was fun. I realized it's too much maintenance for me. If it was easier, I would continue to do it. I think that don't let something like that
Yeah, don't
hold you
wait for
back.
someday. Someday is today.
Yeah. Just do whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Would you have any more tips before we go to the hot topic?
No, do I have any more tips?
Yeah.
No,
Okay. Are you sure?
I'm positive. Nope, I
Okay.
say act now. We're gonna keep this in. People can hear
Okay.
behind the scenes chatter. It's like act now. Don't wait for someday.
Yeah, I know. Just because I asked you, I'm like, are you sure? Because you look like you wanted to be like, get off your ass and move, go.
Yeah. It's like, come on, do the thing. It's like Nike.
Yeah,
Just do it.
yeah, for sure. Okay, hot topic today is brought to you by Erin. I'll tell her. She asked me today what looks maxing was, and her take on it. I don't know what you saw, Erin. That is not what looks maxing is. But you want us to share yours?
Well, I just happened to see something because like two things like on social media, and it was like, I don't even know if I'm saying it. You know what a clavicle is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a person, influence clavicular. It's a man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a streamer and a influencer. He's 20 and he is like all about the looks maxing and the manosphere. I guess he is friends with Andrew Tate, who is like, I think like a misogynist kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's 20 and he's like, I guess they say, he's the looks maxing. And I was like, what in the hell is looks maxing? And so it's basically he tries to, I guess, maximize his looks by he uses meth to help him stay lean. And then he has, I guess, had multiple surgeries to like enhance his face. And the reason that that the whole thing was in showing up on my social media, it wasn't anything that I follow, but you know how sometimes like it'll be suggested for you or like, it shows up because other people are watching it, the way the algorithm works. And I guess he was in a nightclub and he OD'd or something and he had to get rushed, to the hospital and blah, blah, blah. Which, I mean, first off, I'm like, I'm not even going to talk about the whole like 20 years old and using meth to stay lean and, thinking about where are his parents. But anyhow, so yeah, I was like, looks maxing. That just sounds so. I'm like, is that just a platform? Is that just a different way of saying narcissism?
No, looks maxing is actually like pretty great. I mean, it's just about optimizing your looks. Saying to yourself, I feel like it's perfect, honestly, for women as we age too. So it's like you look at yourself and you say, what can I do to maximize my attractive qualities, my looks? And I actually really like it I like it for all ages, but I like it specifically for our age group, Gen X, because I feel like we still got it. And so what you're doing is, but a lot of us have lost it because we were raising kids and kind of let ourselves go. And so what you do then is you look at yourself objectively. And if you cannot do that, which most people can't, a lot of times it's a trend right now. You take it to the internet, which I would literally never do. And you ask other people to looks max you. And it's basically they're telling you what they see. So it's kind of like, when you look at a stranger and you're like, oh my God, like she should do her eyebrows with something that you see instantly, like you're like, oh, she would look great as a brunette. She's got blonde blindness. Oh, those really quick things that you see.
Mm.
And so looks maxing is going, okay, I'm going to make a list of all of these things. So there's a soft looks maxing and then there's a hard one. The soft is the healthy one, and that's the one where it's like, okay, kind of like color. It's basically what we're doing.
Yeah.
Seasonal color analysis. Okay, well, I'm going to wear colors that flatter me. Okay, I'm going to wear cooler tone here because I'm a cool tone person. I'm going to wear silver jewelry or gold. Like that all works together. Maybe bleaching your teeth if your teeth have a little bit of a yellow tinge to them. So those are all like wearing an appropriate makeup. Like if you looks maxing for makeup would be instead of wearing that hard black eyeliner under your eye, let's use the eyeshadow and soften it up and maybe do brown and smoky it out. That's considered soft looks maxing.
Okay.
Hard looks maxing is plastic surgery and it's the unhealthy. The pendulum swings the other way. And it doesn't even have to be bad. So that's why they just call it hard looks maxing. And so that's when the guy that you're talking about, he did it not in a healthy way. Obviously, that was a bad way. But you get a facelift because your face is sagging. That would be considered hard because it's nothing that you can just go out and fix that day. It's something that takes more effort. Any type of Botox or fillers is a hard looks maxing. You want breast augmentation, like if
Liposuction, tummy tuck.
yes, like all that
He's
stuff.
actually having this particular person, he is having his bones extended in his legs so he can be 6'6" or something like that, which he's not 6'6" naturally.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy.
I
That's
mean, I
different.
guess it's like there is a healthy way to just um highlight your best qualities. Like we have talked about color season analysis, body dressing for your body type, which if you want to like dress for your body type. I mean, I also am of the philosophy of wear what you want.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel comfortable wearing something that maybe isn't for your body type, but you want to wear it, I say wear it. But if you're actually, I guess, saying, like, I want a dress that's going to maximize my particular figure. So for me, it's, nothing with pleats because it just enhances my middle and it makes me look even wider through the middle when I'm trying to, like, okay, I want my waist to be a little bit more narrow and I want my hips to be a little bit more wide. But yeah, okay. So it just said it because I looked up what is looks maxing or something, and it said something about that it was and they made it sound, which I thought was interesting. This was on like AI, that it was for like males, or maybe it was because I put in clavicular or whatever his
Yeah,
name is.
probably. Yeah. No, so it's for everyone. It's been a trend on social media to post and say, "Hey, I need to looks max, like help me out." And people are actually really nice about it on TikTok. I've seen when the videos are going, when girls or women or even guys are like, "What can I do? You guys, I want to look my best. Like I'm tired of looking like this. Help me out." And the comments, people oftentimes it's like there's so many good people in the world. The good outweigh the bad like a million times,
Right.
but they're always like, "Oh, you have really nice eyes. I think if you waxed your eyebrows to clean them up
Right.
a little bit, they would show off." And so it's like they're kind of giving you a shit sandwich a little bit, like, this is a, but this is really good, and this is bad, you know.
But it's
So
constructive, and the person asks.
yes,
I think that's what makes it different is because there are, I see it all the time, clapbacks, where somebody is like just on social media, either they posted a picture and then people are like nasty comments. You weren't asking for the opinion of the person.
yeah,
I talked about like my one friend who was like, "You look like you've gained weight." And it was a picture of me and my kids, and it was a bad picture, anyways. And
it's just rude.
I didn't ask for your opinion. And then what have you done to your hair? I mean, there was three
People
things.
are
The person,
always commenting on my big forehead. People are always like, "You have your forehead is huge," and like I always, I'm like, "Okay, I didn't ask, but I'm aware. Thank you." Like I know people would
it's
be like, "Get."
the way I'm made. What do you want me
I
to do?
know. So that's why in that case, that would not be a helpful looks maxing tip unless somebody said get bangs. But for me, which I know that's if I asked, that's 100% what people would say. They'd be like, get bangs. And at some point I might, but for me, that's not good because I don't like to do my hair. So
Right. So
sure,
bangs take a
I'm
lot more
a lot of work, daily work. And so it's like I do always have a bang. Like I have one, I always do a long curtain
curtain
bang,
bangs.
but I just cannot stand to do my hair every day. Like it's just wash and go hair. It's not dry. Like I just like that.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
you're
enjoy
not
doing hair.
asking. You're not, it's like
Right.
you're not putting a picture up saying, "Hey guys, what can I do differently to look better?" You're basically just showing up online talking about something completely different. And somebody's like, "Yo, you got a five head." And you're like, "Yeah, well, fuck you too." Because I didn't
I
ask.
know.
I mean, it's just kind of
And
like,
I do love it though. I love the concept because I think that, and I've followed some of these women that have done that and that have gone through all the steps. There's this one woman, she did it and she looked like she was 60 or late 50s because of the heavy, heavy makeup she wore. And everyone, she was like, somebody commented on her video ugly and was like, "You're 40? You look like you're 60." So then she did a follow up video and she's like, do I really look like I'm 60?" And everyone's like, "I'm sorry, but
well, the
yes."
heavy makeup ages her.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Your makeup is like, cause she does the bold lip, the bold cheek, the bold eye. Like it was all so much
Sure.
teased hair. And I love some big hair, but when you put everything together, it was just too much. And so then she was like, "Okay, let's start looks maxing." And so she was asking everyone for their opinions. Everyone's dropping their opinions and
Oh,
she completely changed her makeup, her coloring, like everything. And she looks so good.
yeah.
Anyway,
It
it's
has
kind of
it
cool.
can be good but the key is that you're asking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And there's got to be a way, like, to ask trusted people instead of just the internet to get wild thoughts from, I would ask if I was going to ask, I would ask somebody that I admired how they looked. I would never just like you're not going to take advice from someone that, I would ask someone that who I admired their appearance.
right, right, you wanna, like because it's like, okay, they've got it figured out for themselves, so especially
They
if
have a
it's
good eye for it.
I was gonna say, they have a critical eye that's very, attuned to things. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I thought it was kind of an interesting word, looks maxing. And I was like, it just sounds, now that you explain it, it sounds better than the actual word and what I was
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
thinking.
he has like a mental illness, clearly. Like he's
Yeah, well,
got some.
also, I mean, if he's doing drugs, he
Yeah.
takes a lot of drugs anyways, and I watched the video because it, like, was like, "Clavicle was taken to the hospital." I'm like, "What? His name is, like, he's named after a bone?" And
Yeah, I
his
don't know who it is.
person that he was out with has another really it's a very weird name, but, like, it's not their real name, but it's in the video, he's, like, so high, and he's, like, zoning out, and and his friend's like, "Do you want an Addy? Do you want an Addy?" And he's like, "Do I want so come here, Addy." Like, he was so out of it, and I was just like, "This is so distressing to me."
I can't even believe that shouldn't be allowed on the internet, like with somebody
Mhm.
offering drugs and
I
on
know.
like,
You're offering him speed, basically, that's what Adderall is
yeah.
speed. It's like he already does meth, and to stay lean, I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I mean, what 20-year-old most 20-year-old boys are typically, I mean, if they're, like
They're
active.
lean and their metabolisms are through the roof. All you have to do is go to the gym. You have to go to the
Right. Or just like eat like a normal person or something.
Yeah.
I always say if there is reincarnation, I want to come back as a teenage boy so that I can eat whatever I want and never gain a pound. I mean, my kids could eat so much and it was just like it just ran through them,
Yeah.
they're still lean. It's like youth, it's wasted on the young.
Very true.
So, well, I think that's all we have time for today. We're grateful for every one of our listeners, near and far. If you haven't hit the follow button on the podcast, please hit that now so that you stay in the loop whenever we release a new episode.
Yeah, and we think it's really cool that people from all over the world are listening. So show up in our Instagram comments or DMs and say hi. We'd love to be introduced. So anyway, yeah, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and watch full versions on YouTube. And we will see you next week. Have a great night.
Bye.
This has been a production of Estrogen Dropouts, LLC.